Happy Monday, everybody. I'm a few minutes late. Apologize for that, but tonight we are going to be talking about the must-haves for growing your business, and I'm really going to give you this sneak peek behind the scenes. And there's kind of like four areas that I think are must-haves, and I'm looking down at my phone because I'm going to share this into a few places, but that was the right window. Um, and I'm probably going to I'm really going to focus on two of them tonight. And another one, we'll probably cover the other ones because you know how I really like to keep these shows to 30 minutes. So I'm a little late because I was on a call with my mastermind, my 6 to 7 figure mastermind, and we just have it, just like some of the questions and the group discussion is always just so good. And last week we had this um, amazing call with all of us. Not everybody was present on today's call, and it was just like my heart was just so full with gratitude, and to be in this group and on this path with these women, that because like we're all doing amazing things, we all share things, we all share tips. Here's what's working, like here's what I've been doing, here's what's working. And I love that kind of collaboration. And like that's the beauty of being in a mastermind. That's the beauty of being in a group program is, like that phrase about like when tides lift, it lifts all boats. And that is so true when it's a mastermind. So I'm just sharing this to my entrepreneurs group. And then I also want to share this to my page. Let's see. So that's all taken care of. And so what we're going to be talking about today is really like giving you like a behind the scenes look. This is not only conversations that I have directly with my private clients, but it is also, like exactly like what I have done to grow my business to 6 figures. So if you're like watching, feel free to like let me know where you're watching from. Say hi. I always love to like engage with you guys because these shows are a conversation. It's not just me being the college professor, dishing out information. It is a two-way street, and I know sometimes, hopefully, I will see your comments. So just feel free to like type something below so that I can make sure that because you know that I use Ecamm right here on my laptop that streams into Facebook, and it always helps. Let me know that you're watching. Hello, let's see. We got somebody from Morrisville, North Carolina. I think I know somebody else down in that area, so thank you very much for being here. Hello, Sarah. Sarah is from across the pond. She's over in the UK. It is wonderful to have you here, to have you both here. Thank you very much for typing in so that I know that everything is working well. Yes, Talene. Talene. She's such a doll. So let me just kind of like go over what I think these, when I really think about, like how to grow a business, I thought about just that question. If I was just starting out, what would be the advice that I would give myself right now? And, like there are, I think, 4 different areas. One is mindset. No big surprise there. That having that success psychology, huge. That is you build the rest of your business on that. That is what is going to strengthen that's the strong foundation. You do not want to be building a business without mindset, and building your business, building a house on sand. No, you've got to have the strong foundation. So mindset is it. Mindset is it. Number 2 would be laser focused. And that might even surprise you, because it's not something that anybody is really talking about out there right now. And that's the one that I'm going to really focus on. Number 3 are sales skills. you've got to embrace sales. I so remember back when when I was graduating college, but also when I hear people like when they're trying to figure out like what's that next career move, and I don't want to do sales. I would hear that so much, and you know what? Like life is sales. You've got to embrace sales. And sales is really just drawing a line to the money, helping people like when you spend X amount of dollars, here's what you're getting. Just to be able to let people know when you go to buy a car, it's, like here's the you've negotiated for the price, and like there's the car. You can see it. You can, like you drive it. Does that make sense? How many of you guys that are watching right now, how many of you like just give me like a heart or a thumbs up that yes, thumbs up, yes, I love sales. Thumbs down, no, I don't like sales. Type in your answer, because sales is an important one. And I know that this is going to be something that we're definitely going to have some Facebook Lives that are just focused on sales. But while you're sharing your answers, let me tell you what the fourth area is: marketing. Having a marketing plan, working it for 90 days, and then editing it, and then figuring out like what works and what doesn't work. Because it takes time for things to actually like kick in. And so I'll just kind of like give you like a brief overview on what I mean about that. You decide, I think my target market is over in LinkedIn. So I'm going to start putting material out on LinkedIn. So this is not like McDonald's where you drive up to the window, you place your order, you drive around the building, you hand them your debit card, your form of payment, they give you your dinner, your lunch, your breakfast, you drive away. It doesn't happen that fast. You're on LinkedIn, you're just starting, you've got your lovely profile, you've got connections, but you put a post out there. And then you don't hear anything. And so you think, this doesn't work. I hear that a lot. So what you have to do is you have to keep putting out content in LinkedIn. And the same thing like what you're doing over in Facebook, and then you want to make sure that you are engaging and having conversations with other people, not just on your post, but also on other people's interesting posts as well, posts, articles, stories, etc. Not stories in the sense of like Instagram stories or Facebook stories, just something a little different. So that's probably going to be like another topic for another Facebook Live, because again, I really want to focus on this. We're going to get laser focused, absolutely laser focused on what we are doing. Because your clients hire you for your confidence, and that's also like a sales tip. But your clients are hiring you as the guide, the expert that's going to help them get from point A to point B. Whatever point A is to whatever point B is. And if you're both at point A and you're like, well, like, however you want to get over there. No, they're looking for like, here's the transformation, and here's how I'm going to get you there. So let's just talk about getting laser focused. What do you do? Knowing what you do. So what's the transformation or the result that your clients get? So here's one thing. Like when I first started in the entrepreneurial world, I had left my corporate job, and I had, I was doing life coaching, is what I ended up in, because I didn't feel like I was qualified to do corporate coaching, which I ended up doing a number of years later. I actually assumed that I wouldn't enjoy corporate coaching, but I really did enjoy life coaching. And it was like through speaking that I was able to fill my roster, but life coaching, it was actually, I will admit, was very vague. Like, I'm a life coach and I work with women. That is so vague. Like, where's the transformation? What's the result? Like, what do we work on? So being able to like really fine tune, who do you work with? So getting like really laser focused on who you work with. Is that an industry? Is that a certain type of entrepreneur, a certain type of mom? I work with moms. Like you could be a health coach. And yes, everybody on the planet has health. And there are lots of people like on the planet who like value their health more. I'll say like more than others because we do have a lot of people who smoke, for example. So there are varying degrees of value for health. But you can't. But if you just say like, well, I'm a health coach, okay, that doesn't let me, like who's listening to you and who I can refer others to you. That's just like there's too many people that I could refer to you. But when you hear people start to say, I work with postpartum mothers to get their health back on track to before they were pregnant, that is so specific. So specific. Linda, who is on here right now, Linda is a etiquette and tea expert. So talk about like this, like she is, as I like to say, she's an inch wide and a mile deep. She's so specific on what she does. Now, because she's so specific on what she does, there are a number of different industries that she can work with. And her and I've had these conversations, and I hope you don't mind me talking about this, Linda. But she actually does work with. She does like tea parties, like with moms and their daughters, because that can be something fun to do together, and also to learn like place settings and manners at tables. But she can also work with sales teams, because salespeople do go to dinner with their potential clients and their current clients, and to just like to know, like just to have like really good etiquette. So her and I've had these conversations that just because she does tea and etiquette classes, there are a number of different industries that she can actually, because she knows what her transformation, she is so specific on what she does. Is that making sense to you guys like right now? So knowing what you do, getting laser focused, and also what's the problem that you solve. That's different than the transformation. What's the problem that you solve? That way, when you hear that problem come up, like you're able to address that problem. The people who know what you do, people who know what I do, like I'm a business coach, but I also have this specialty of using my background as a professional speaker. And so, like you've heard me say, there are many forms of speaking. But as Warren Buffett said, you learn public speaking skills and you've increased your value by 50%. 50%. And speaking comes in not just stages, but podcasts, live streams, virtual meetings, sales presentations, your elevator pitch. I mean, there's just so many different forms of speaking. If you want to, like we can start going into like also like creating videos, like IGTV, like live stories, etc. So there's this like, what problem do you solve? And getting laser focused, because that's also like your clientele, your audience, your followers. My followers, my audience, excuse me, are online business people. Online business people who, and like coaches, consultants, and creatives. Creatives as in like online business managers, virtual assistants. I consider those to be in the creative category, along with like web designers, branding experts, people who can use speaking as their best form of marketing. But also as their business coach, I help them grow their business. And especially like if you're just starting out, I've got this talent, I'm a branding expert, I'm really great at, like developing websites and graphics, or we can like even say like copywriters. Here's what I'm really good at, but I don't know, I don't know the first thing, like I want to take my business online. I don't ever want to like run into another global pandemic and not be able to feed my family. Like, so I help solve that problem, taking your existing offline business and bringing it online. And then also, like, for people who are just like either they're just starting out or they want to scale. So how do I do that? So those are the sort of people that come to me to ask me, like, so how do I do this, Laurie-Ann? So that's the problem that I solve. Your voice, getting really, really clear with yourself about what's your thought leadership. And that thought leadership is like, what do you tell people? Like, here's what I see. These are your opinions. These are your predictions. Part of my thought leadership, regarding this coronavirus was, not only is it, I think we've all come to agree that this is changing us. Like this, we're not going to go back to the way that we were. And one of my predictions is that this is going to change the construction industry. And the reason why I say it's going to change the construction industry is new homes, like your average home, is now going to be built with technology in a room that is specifically an office. Because I think we're going to see a higher demand of that. Companies are going to, like if they're relocating people, you've got to have an office. You've got to have that dedicated space, because I think that we're also going to see a lot of studies that are going to come out because of what's gone on. Who were the kitchen, like the kitchen table office people, versus the people like, did you have an office that you were able to like actually go into and close the doors? Were you more productive that way? So this is what I mean, like getting like really laser focused, and this takes time. This takes time to do it on your own, or, like if you've got somebody who's holding you accountable, who can actually ask you these questions and pull them out of you, or just pick up your journal and start start thinking about like, what is your thought leadership? What are some things that you are seeing in your industry? And being able to share that with people, to be able to say, here's what I'm seeing in the industry. Here's what I bet you're hearing right now. And just being able to share with people, like whether it's right or whether it's wrong. Along with your thought leadership, also sharing and knowing what your beliefs are. So part of my beliefs are like the cornerstone of my business and of my coaching is success psychology and mindset. It's also coming up with a plan or a strategy and taking action. Those are the 3 areas. And those are the 3 areas that I think are really critical to building any business. And so here's one other, getting really laser focused on your zone of genius. And I know you're probably thinking like, wasn't that like a lot of what we already talked about? But what I mean by like when I say your zone of genius, it's about staying in your lane, staying in your zone of genius. And this is where you delegate, but you have to figure out what to delegate. So I have these time tracking sheets, and I still do them every week. And I encourage my clients to do them as well. Like to just like half hour by half hour, what were you doing? So let's say like, for example, before I hired on my first team member, my first VA, and this was before I even had my first client, by the way, I just knew that in order for me to stay in my zone of genius, because I'm the only one who can do the stuff that's in my zone of genius. The other stuff, somebody else can do so much better. So one of the first things that I actually did delegate was posting to Facebook. So my VA does like help me post in other Facebook groups, and I'm very connected to my own Facebook group, Entrepreneurs Making an Impact. And but I do my own engaging. But I have somebody who does the posting for me, because let's face it, like I write the content, but I don't necessarily have to pick the image that's going to go with that content. I don't necessarily have to be the one who's actually doing the posting, to these groups. So that's really important to me. And So you don't really know what that is like until you start like actually tracking your time. So especially if you get to the end of the week and you're just like, oh my God, I'm so exhausted. I'm not sure what I did. I'm not sure how much I accomplished. To be able to track your time. And once you track your time as to what you did, so you include things like coaching with clients or selling to clients, sales calls. Maybe you had to go pick the kids up from somewhere. I realize like everybody's home, so maybe picking people up is not actually what's going on these days. Um, but all the different tasks, like maybe it is like running to the grocery store. Um, I'm trying to think of like some other um, setting up your email, like a weekly or monthly email that goes out to your list. Creating a new opt-in, designing that new opt-in. So just being able to like keep track of all these things. And then what I tell my clients to do is like you grab a couple of highlighters and one color. I want you to go through and highlight all the things that are in your calendar that only you can do. Only you can do. So I'm the only one who can do sales calls. I cannot delegate a sales call. I'm the only one who can write my content. I'm the only one who can do Facebook Lives. And I'm the only one, who could write those monthly emails. And I also have a membership site, so I'm the only one who can create that content. I'm the only one who can do those monthly Q&A calls or the monthly office hours. Like I'm the only one who can do that stuff. Do I need to be posting to Facebook? Do I need to be putting, like setting up the back end, playing with the software that happens? Do I need to go in and block my schedule? No, but having team members who can do that stuff for me, because it is so easy for me just to, here was something that I did. If you're in my group, Entrepreneurs Making an Impact, you answered 3 questions to hop on in there. One of them was like, hey, do you want this directory of places to speak? And then I asked a couple of questions. Well, sometimes, like lately, I haven't been as, I take screenshots of everybody who's asking to come in, and like I approve them, or sometimes if I've got the time, like I send a personal message to these people. Well, I haven't been adding them to, like my email platform, but I have all these screenshots. So literally today, I contacted my team member and I said, I'm going to send you a bunch of screenshots. Could you please add all of these people to our email list? And here are the tags. Now it's going to get done. So that's what I mean. Like, I got to stay in my zone of genius. So really what I need to be doing is I need to add on to her workload is that she goes in there and she approves people and puts those people into our email platform. But probably the reason why I've been hesitating on this is because I really, really like to send people personal messages based on the answers to those questions. Because I like my Facebook group, where you might be watching this, I like people to feel warm and fuzzy. That's just part of who I am. It's not a huge group like some of these other groups that you might be visiting that have like 10, 12, 20,000 members. I want people to feel warm and fuzzy when they come into my group. It's like my home. So I'm the only one who can send those messages. I'm the only one who's opening the door and saying, hey, how are you? Thank you for joining us. Let me know below if you've got one of those nice messages from me, if you are inside of my Entrepreneurs Making an Impact group, depending on how long you've been in there. But I like to make people feel warm and fuzzy. One other area that I think you really need to focus on is how you work with people. The packages, if you have services, what are those services that you offer? And getting very specific about who they're perfect for. So for example, I have basically three different one-on-one coaching packages. I have a 90-minute session where, like, especially if you're just like, hey, I've just got this one thing that I want to work on, or, I'm kind of interested in working with you, Laurie-Ann, but you sort of like a 90-minute, you can sort of like take me for a test drive, so to speak. Because a lot of times, if you are I'm like getting tongue tied here. If you purchase the 90, people who have purchased the 90-minute, if I enjoy working with them, I'm just going to ask them. There's so much more that we can do. If you would like to become a private one-on-one client, I will roll over basically your investment in this 90-minute session, becomes like your deposit for a private coaching. Then I have my private 6-month coaching, and that's a one-on-one. And then I have a year-long done for you program. And that's very in depth and actually involves more specialists, like people to help with websites, with copywriting, with humor, etc. But then I also have, and those are for one-on-one people. But then there's people like, hey, I don't really need that one-on-one coaching because they might be already working with a coach, but like group programs. So being very focused about what you do, who you work with, what's the problem that you solve, what are the results that people get from working with you. Some of the results that my clients have gotten is they've written Amazon best-selling books. They've gotten picked up by publishers. And when I say picked up by publishers, that means a publisher paid them to write the book. I've also had people that are inside my membership, but also within my group, who have written books and they're becoming Amazon bestsellers. So they are self-publishing also. I've had lots of clients get on stages, clients add on new clients because they've learned some better sales skills. I've had clients, sell from the stage and sell thousands of dollars of new client business. I mean, that's, to be able to have those results, because that's what I do. And it totally lights me up for my clients to get these kind of results. But, at the same time, you want to gather those. I basically do like screenshots. This is how I stay organized with this. So when somebody either sends me a message on Facebook's DM, or they post it like in my Facebook group or on Instagram, like, Laurie-Ann, here's what I did. I take a screenshot of that and I save that information because it might be like on the fly. So that when you're wondering, like, well, what are the results that my clients get when they work for me? Well, you've got this file. And I basically, I'm an Apple girl, so I'm using an iPhone. So I will take those screenshots and then I put it into a folder, that's on my phone that's just called, client results, social proof. So you want to make sure that you're also catching that information as well. But really what I wanted to focus on today was to help you get really laser focused on who you are, who you work with, what are the results, what's your thought leadership, and what are the packages and how do you work with people, and getting super, just spending the time. If you spend the time on deciding on this, it doesn't mean that you can't ever change your mind later, because you can change your mind later. You can decide that I'm going to change my niche. I'm going to add on a new package. I'm going to take away a package, a way that I service, that I work with people. Or I might even change what my part of. I'm going to hire on a new person because I want to keep staying in my zone of genius. So just spending the time. This is something that I wish that I had done when I first started out. And I know that if I had dedicated the time, and I'm talking about, you could probably do this in an afternoon, depending on how long you've been in business. It's about making decisions. Being able to decide, here it is, drawing a line in the sand. I'm not a coach. That might be something that you might say. I'm not a coach. I'm a consultant. I'm a web designer. I'm a copywriter. I want to do copywriting. I want to do I want people to hire me for a day. I don't want copywriting to take place over the course of 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. I only say that because that's exactly what I've done when I've worked with copywriters. But I've also worked with branding people. Like when I started my membership site In Demand, It was like I specifically hired somebody who had here's my day rate. We will get this done in a day. I got to tell you, like, I really loved it too. So just being able to give yourself the time to answer those questions, and really get super focused on them. And so another thing, another part of marketing, even though we didn't really talk about the marketing today, is part of marketing is writing content. And have you heard my free training that starts on Wednesday? It's called Crack Like Content. Creating content so good, it's addicting. And that is starting Wednesday. It's going to be right inside my Facebook group, but you want to sign up. And I'm going to add the link right here. So that you guys can, if you haven't signed up, you want to sign up so that you'll get the notifications, you'll get the summaries, the replays if you're not able to attend the program, attend the training, but it is going to be so good because writing content is, like should be just so delicious because it is a sales, it's a money-making activity when you think about it. Whether you're putting that post on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Facebook, even YouTube, you could be creating video. It doesn't just have to be like text. It could be video, it could be live streams, but you want your content to be so good. It's addicting. You want your people, your followers, to wake up in the morning. This is the goal. To wake up in the morning and be like, oh my God, I have to find out what she says today. What's her post? What is she talking about? And just to because you want it to be thought-provoking. But I'm going to give you some great tips, but also talk to you about the 4 personalities that you should be writing for. Because there are essentially 4 different personalities, and I know we could sub down each personality. I don't want to say everybody fits into 4 groups, but when it comes to writing content, this is a very easy way to write content and to think about who you're writing it for. And that's going to be a fun, delicious stuff to learn. that's not the best way to word it. Stuff to learn, but it's going to be whenever I teach this stuff, and I used to teach this in leadership in leaderships and for salespeople, because this is a great communication tip. And so you're going to learn how to write to these different personalities, and you're going to have some aha moments. But definitely between now and then, go sign up for that. But also watch your own behavior. Between now and then, because we're going to talk about this, watch your own behavior about what kind of content you read. You notice that you are drawn to. That's what I want you to do between now and then. And I want you guys just to have a great evening. If you're watching the replay, thank you very much. I went a little bit of overtime today than I typically do, but this was such an important, I just wanted to be able to share, my path with you and my advice that I'm giving to people, and just to shave off lots of frustration for you. So if you guys have any questions, you're watching the replay, type them down below. I will be sure to stop back and answer any and all questions that you have. You guys have a great evening.